There are certain love stories that make viewers root for a couple's triumph over obstacles. Then, there are relationships like Loren and Faith's, a slow-burning train wreck that makes you question whether the phrase opposites attract is nothing more than wishful thinking. Watching their turbulent journey on 90-Day Fiancé was equal parts entertaining and agonizing. Now that Loren has reportedly tried to reconcile with Faith, one thing is abundantly clear. This is a union best left in the past. Faith, ever the optimist, seems drawn back into Loren's web like a moth to a flame. But Loren's numerous red flags make it impossible for a happy ending to emerge from the ashes of their failed engagement. Here's why Loren and Faith should stay as far apart as possible, for their own well-being and that of anyone in their orbit. Loren and Faith's relationship started with what can only be described as an overly accelerated timeline. Loren, a charismatic entrepreneur, met Faith, a shy but emotionally open graphic designer, through a dating app that promised love across borders. Within weeks, Loren proposed over a candlelit dinner in New York City, and Faith, overwhelmed by his grand gestures, said yes. The problem wasn't their initial connection, it was the lack of foundation. Relationships built on whirlwind romance often crumble under the weight of reality, and Loren and Faith were no exception. What started as a passionate infatuation quickly devolved into a series of arguments, misunderstandings, and, eventually, their infamous on-camera breakup. Faith expressed early doubts about Loren's ability to communicate effectively, while Loren dismissed her concerns as overthinking. This dynamic was a preview of their entire relationship. Loren rushing ahead, ignoring red flags, and Faith trying to keep up, despite her better judgment. While no one enters a relationship expecting perfection, Loren displayed a laundry list of red flags that made it hard to root for him as a viable partner for Faith, or anyone else for that matter. Controlling behavior. Loren had a habit of making unilateral decisions, from where they would live to how Faith should dress for events. Faith mentioned on the show that Loren frequently dismissed her input as not practical, leaving her feeling unheard and undervalued. Financial recklessness. Loren painted himself as a successful businessman, but the cracks in his facade began to show when Faith discovered his mounting debt. He frequently prioritized luxury purchases over financial stability, leading to arguments about money that Faith could never win. Emotional manipulation. Loren was adept at turning disagreements into situations where Faith felt guilty for voicing her concerns. Phrases like, "If you really loved me, you wouldn't question my decisions," were a regular part of his arsenal. Inability to take accountability. After their breakup, Loren deflected blame onto Faith, claiming she wasn't supportive enough. This refusal to own up to his mistakes made any potential reconciliation feel doomed from the start. Faith's journey on 90-Day Fiancé was heartbreaking to watch. She entered the relationship with a genuine desire to build a life with Loren, but quickly found herself compromising her values to appease him. Faith's red flags weren't as glaring as Loren's, but her inability to set boundaries early on allowed toxic patterns to persist. She often forgave Loren's bad behavior out of fear of losing him, a mindset that trapped her in a cycle of self-doubt and emotional exhaustion. By the time their relationship ended, Faith was a shadow of her former self. However, the breakup marked the beginning of her journey towards self-discovery and empowerment. She started therapy, reconnected with friends, and began rebuilding her confidence, steps that made Loren's recent attempt at reconciliation all the more concerning. Loren's attempt to win Faith back came as a shock to fans, many of whom believed their story was firmly in the rearview mirror. His grand gesture, a surprise visit to Faith's hometown with a bouquet of flowers and a heartfelt apology, might have seemed romantic on the surface, but it was emblematic of his inability to respect boundaries. Faith, to her credit, didn't immediately jump back into Loren's arms. She agreed to meet for coffee, where they discussed their past and Loren's hopes for the future. While Loren promised he had changed, his actions during the conversation told a different story. He interrupted Faith repeatedly, dismissed her concerns about their compatibility, and framed their breakup as a misunderstanding rather than a necessary step toward personal growth. Faith left the meeting feeling conflicted. While she still had lingering feelings for Loren, her therapist's words echoed in her mind. "You deserve a partner who respects and values you, not someone who sees you as an accessory to their life." Reconciliation might work for some couples, but Loren and Faith's relationship is beyond repair. Here's why. Loren hasn't changed. Despite his claims of personal growth, Loren's actions suggest otherwise. His tendency to dominate conversations and dismiss Faith's concerns remains unchanged, indicating that any future relationship would likely fall into the same toxic patterns. Faith deserves better. Faith has made significant strides in her personal growth since the breakup. Reuniting with Loren would risk undoing her progress and dragging her back into a dynamic that stifled her individuality. Irreconcilable differences. At their core, Loren and Faith want different things from life. Loren thrives on spontaneity and risk, while Faith values stability and open communication. These fundamental differences make a long-term partnership untenable. The past can't be erased. The hurt and mistrust that defined their previous relationship would be difficult, if not impossible, to overcome. While forgiveness is possible, forgetting is not, and their shared history would inevitably cast a shadow over any renewed romance. Loren and Faith's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of ignoring red flags and rushing into commitments without a solid foundation. Their relationship highlights the importance of communication, mutual respect, and personal growth in building a healthy partnership. For Faith, the breakup was an opportunity to rediscover herself and set boundaries that she previously lacked. For Loren, it should have been a wake-up call to address his behavior and take accountability for his actions, though his recent attempt at reconciliation suggests he still has work to do. As fans of 90 Day Fiancé, we've seen our fair share of dramatic breakups and unexpected reunions. But when it comes to Loren and Faith, one thing is clear: some love stories are better left unfinished.